Hey, welcome BPTN. Welcome to another Masterclass series. You are joining us right here, right now in a new month, which means new opportunities for exciting things. One thing that always stays constant in my life and is so exciting, and I'm not joking here, it is this weekly Masterclass series that we get to hang out together. So if you want in on this action, join me and the rest of the BPTN community right here every Thursday evening for engaging conversations from some of the tech world's biggest names. So I'm super excited. And if we haven't met yet, if this is your very first time hanging out with us, my name is Cher Jones. I'm a corporate trainer, keynote speaker, and the founder of Socially Active Training. Right now, I am here in Toronto, aka the Six. What about you? Where are you repping from? I want you to drop your city and your country in the chat. Let us know because we have people joining us from around the tech world, around the entire world. So I want to see where you guys are joining us tonight. So I am seeing some Toronto people, Atlanta people, Nigeria. You see what I'm saying? All over the world. And that chat right there, that is where things are going to blow up tonight. Look, Calgary, Providence, Rhode Island. All right. So I'm loving it. Coburg, Pickering, Orlando. Hello from Toronto as well, Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to be heading over to Orlando, and I think I saw Atlanta. Those are two places I'll be heading over to within the next month. So Portland, Toronto again, the YYZ getting all cool in the chat with your airport code. That's okay. I read you. I see you. I see whatever you are putting down, I'm picking up. So it's all good. And well, I want to make sure not only are you connecting in the chat, but if you are a BPTN and Obsidi OG, then you already know. But if you are brand new to BPTN and brand new to everything that we're going on here in the masterclass, I just want you to know that we launched a brand new platform called Obsidi. So Obsidi.com. It's a platform made by Black professionals for Black professionals. It is a global Black professional platform in tech for you guys to connect 365 days a year to learn, grow, and build your careers together and also connect with our partners. So I want to know how many people right now are already an Obsidi.com member. If you are, I want you to put O in the chat because I want to see who's a member, but I also want you to take it. I'm going to be a little selfish here. I want you to go over to Obsidi.com, search Cher Jones and click connect because I want to be connecting with you guys. I want to connect with as many amazing Black professionals as I can, and you guys should want to do the same. So let's network together. And if you haven't signed up as of yet, but you are already digging the vibe that we've got going on here, then you need to stay connected and you need to sign up right now. So go over to obsidi.com and start networking. And of course, don't be selfish. You want to be a friend, so bring a friend over. All right, because it is time to build that tribe. You can see the link in the chat. Click it out. Make sure you connect. And also, here's what I want you to do. I'm already giving you homework. This is a masterclass, by the way. So as you are taking notes, I want you to think about something that you can post and share about tonight's masterclass and share it over on obsidi.com because there is so much. Sharing is caring. Yes, sharing is caring, but I care about you and I care about our community. So make sure you're sharing. And what are you going to be sharing about? Well, I'm sure everybody here can appreciate the value of diversity. It is something that we as consumers have come to expect and even demand from companies. But did you know that diversity in sales teams actually create more sales? That's right. And in a few moments, we are going to really unpack this and also learn about the power of diverse sales teams. So like I said before, get your pen and paper ready, take some notes, be ready to share them over on obsidi.com, maybe even take a screenshot of what's going on here because sharing is caring and we want to make sure that we're sharing the love and figuring out how we can make sure our sales teams are much more diverse and how you can take advantage of that. But before I move on, I want to make sure we say thank you to our partner, LinkedIn, for bringing yet another electrifying conversation to BPTN. So thank you so much, LinkedIn. And now, you know me, I love questions. Like I always got questions, always have questions. So I want to ask you a question. Does diversity on sales teams within a company matter to you as a consumer? Does it matter? Does it matter at all? I know for me it does. So I want you to type yes or no in the chat below. I am now looking. We have our dollar, that and our dollar has power. So for me, diversity matters. But what about you guys? Let me know in the chat, yes or no, because that's something for me. Does diversity on sales teams or within a company matter to you? Yes, I'm expecting to see yeses, to be honest, but I want you guys to get jumping in the chat there. Is there a no anywhere in sight? Probably not. And that's a good, yes. You see, this is what I'm talking about. Everybody's getting in there with the yeses. And yes, right? A big yes. Amethyst, I see you. And San, and absolutely yes, says Peter Hall. Natalie says yes, yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. I expect it. I want to see it. And I want you guys to, I want to keep on seeing this energy in the chat as we expect to learn tonight, because you know that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to learn something today. And thank you so much for sharing. And also, I'm going to ask you a slightly unrelated question. Did you know that Black Mental Health Day was on Tuesday? So here's what I want to know. Do you take care of your mental health? And what do you do to take care of it? I want you to drop a quick answer in the chat. Let's share some ideas. Maybe that can be your post on Obsidi.com, all about Black Mental Health Day, what you do. For me, one of the things that I did for my mental health is I shut down almost all notifications on my phone. There's no more red bubbles. There's no more dings and pings and booms. I think the only thing that I get is my phone ringing and when someone sends me a text. Everything else after that, I have to go in and check. And let me tell you, boom, that just cleared my mind and it was so good. So I'm seeing Maria says yoga, Cindy says me time, Raymond says the gym, Kristen says therapy and dance. Love it. Digital detoxes. That's right, Amitesh. I'm so with you on that. Turn off work and breathe. I love it, Eric. That's exactly it. And Keisha, just like me, turning off those notifications. I'm telling you, it was game changing. I love looking at my phone now. All right. So thank you guys so much. Continue to share your inputs. Maybe someone's going to write a post on the top 5 things that BPTN members do to ensure they have mental health. So that's a post idea. I'm just saying. Want to share that? Make sure you head over to BPTN or Obsidi.com and share that. All right. So let's take a look at tonight's agenda, because we've got our agenda going on today. So we see networking and engagement, of course, that's happening. Then we're going to jump into our fireside chat and then into our leadership panel. And of course, there's always more tunes. There's always more fun here. And in the meantime, throughout this entire agenda, you know what I want you to do? I want to make sure you are networking. So continue to drop fire in that chat, drop your gems, get connected, and of course, go over to Obsidi.com. So as well, speaking of getting connected, are you social with us? You can head over to, of course, Obsidi.com and be social in the network there. Plus, all of our social handles are Obsidi by BPTN, and even our hashtag is Obsidi by BPTN and hashtag BPTN Masterclass. So when you're posting, tweeting, or anything else in between, I want to make sure that you are connecting and tagging us in there. So definitely you want to do that. And of course, if you are brand new to hanging out with us tonight, I want to make sure that you get a warm greeting. So make sure you type 1 in the chat if you are brand new. And of course, if you are a BPTN OG, type OG in the chat, because you know I love my OGs. And look at this. I'm already seeing links to get connected on Obsidi.com. So make sure you guys get connected over there. So in the meantime, if you're brand new, I want to let you know how these things work around here, because you might be looking at all these different things that you can play with. But I want you to know that the chat is where everything happens. And that's going on before, during, and after the event, as well as right beside that chat, there is a little tab, and it's the question box. That's where you can submit a question. And if we've got time, we're definitely going to answer them. And did you know that you can play around? You can move the video screen around. You can move the chat box to make it as comfortable as you want to be. You can also resize the windows and make it your own. And don't worry, you won't break the internet here. There's that little circular arrow, and that will restore it back to the default settings. So you're good to go. And of course, the buttons down below, you'll be able to find the speaker bios, the slides being used today's members' names, and so much more. So make sure you are getting all clickety. And did you know that one of the awesome things about these masterclasses is we have talent acquisition folks in the chat with you right now that you can network, engage, and connect with. So their names are on the screen. We got Leanne and Jess, and they're from LinkedIn. So if you're looking at, jumping in on the action at LinkedIn, because that's one of the, if I was ever looking for a job, that is one of the places I would absolutely want to work. So you want to be connecting with Leanne and Jess and make sure you connect with them through the masterclass, and also connect your friends to them as well if they're looking for an awesome sales career at LinkedIn, because that's a great place to be. And make sure you connect with them also on obsidi.com. So now I want to do a quick opinion question to get everybody ready for tonight's conversation. So on the screen, you're going to see a question. There are 4 options. I want you to choose the one that resonates with you and click submit. So there's no right or wrong answer here. So let's take a look. The question is, what do you think contributes to the most to its sales team's success? And again, this is just your opinion. This is just what you think. Is it straight up luck? Is it lots of years in sales? Is it diversities on all level? Or is it solid people skills? Let's see. I'm feeling the people skills. I know diversity is important, and I think that when everybody has people skills, you'll probably see more diversity as well. But I want to see what you guys are thinking. So diversity on all levels. I love that idea. Let's see. Get voting, guys. Lots of years in sales, straight up like, so no one's saying experience. Come on, guys. Do you know how hard these salespeople work? And it takes a lot of time. But again, there's so many great answers here. So it looks like we are from diversity to solid people skills. And that's how you get the winning opportunity in sales. But either way, thank you guys so much for participating. And I'm sure you are all ready for the main event tonight. And we have an amazing panel coming up later to give us some key insights around diverse sales teams. But first, we are going to start with the fireside chat that I'm sure is going to blow your mind. I know I'm a little extra, but I'm serious. It's going to be an awesome conversation. So right now, I'm going to invite first up, I'm going to invite James Burnett to the stage. Hello, James. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. Now that I get to see your shining face. So this is awesome.
Loving the energy.
I love it too. I'm feeling it right back. So this is good. You pumped me up, and I'm going to let everybody know a little bit about you. So for those of you who don't know James, this is one guy you want to get connected with, because James has built teams and customer relationships at some of the biggest and most successful technology companies. And as well, since joining LinkedIn, he has helped the company scale from 50 million members to over 800 million members today. And so he leads the Sales Solution Global Accounts business. And he's also the founder, and this is really cool, guys. He's also the founder of LinkedIn's LEAD program. It's focused on the advancement of Black and Latino talent in the technology sector. So again, James, welcome. I cannot wait to dive into all of that.
Great to be here.
Awesome. All right. So next up, I've got Erin Mathurin. Erin, how are you?
I am well. Thank you. Great to be here.
All right. Well, let me let everybody know about you, Erin, because you've worked in a number of industries, and you've also partnered with some of the world's largest brands. And in your current role as a senior manager at global accounts at LinkedIn, you lead an organization of sales professionals, and your teams help customers leverage modern selling strategies to mitigate business challenges and achieve revenue objectives. Sounds like sales to me in a very good way. So welcome, Erin.
Thank you.
Okay, so I got both James and Erin. And here's a great question I'm going to start with. So I don't know anybody in my, let's just say, almost 48 years of living. I do not know one person in my life who's ever woken up in the morning around, let's say, 12 or 13 years old and said, hey, I want to be in sales. But yet, both of you love your jobs. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what got you excited to choose sales and account management as your career choice. And I'm going to start with you, James.
Yeah, sure. happy to jump in. So actually, I didn't wake up, thinking that I wanted to be in sales either. I was actually a political science major and Black Studies minor, and thinking back, I was coming out of undergrad working in local politics in Providence, Rhode Island. I saw we have somebody from Providence in the chat. And I actually had a friend who was kind of on an MBA track, really dialed into the business career. And he convinced me, one night that I should really think about exploring, business and sales. And it just so happened there was a sales management trainee program at one of the biggest companies in Rhode Island where I went to school. And I took a swing at it, and I just found out I loved it. And I think it's, the combination of me being a people person and, going into this world of sales, being able to connect, with strangers and build relationships and, help people and companies solve problems. It was just something that I really think I picked up and had a knack for, and never looked back. And now I've been here for about 20 plus years in the sales industry in tech.
Wow.
So definitely did not plan on it, but that's how it happened back in the early days.
Okay, Aaron, what about you? Are you going to be the first person ever who said from they were 8 years old, I'm going to be in sales, or no?
You know what? No. So as a career, I stumbled upon sales, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But as a young child, I actually did sell things. So my mom is an artist. She's a poet. And so she would write poetry. And like many artists, she didn't like to sell her work. She liked to create the work. She didn't want to sell it, but she had a great product. And so actually, I was like that young kid that was pushing my mom's books way back when she was doing poetry reading. But I never thought about it as a career because I just didn't see anybody that looked like me that did sales or B2B sales at all. And so it almost didn't happen. But I'll say, when I think about the things that really light me up and give me energy, it's connecting with people. It's solving problems. It's understanding challenges that people are experiencing. Like I was fixing things and solving things from a young age. And I was actually at my undergrad university, and one of my classmates who didn't look like me, so didn't find another person that looked like me in sales, but she had gotten a job post-graduation in a sales rotation program with GE. And so she was describing the program to me and the opportunity. And when you get that feeling when you're like, I want to do that. I don't know what it was about it. It might have been the description of connecting or problem solving. I don't know. I was like, I want to do that. So I pursued it, and I actually was able to get into that sales training program with her after graduation. And I think it's a moment when you feel something and you step into it and you take a risk. And the other is she didn't look like me. And I still, didn't know people that were in B2B sales that looked like me. And I stepped into it because I was like, I could do that too.
I love it. And I love how, this conversation right now, because we are seeing diversity, happen in sales teams. And we're going to get into that in just a second. But the fact that we're having this conversation with this network, and it's something that from a sales perspective and from a career perspective, like as you guys are here and networking in the chat with the LinkedIn talent acquisition team, like this is something that both of these professionals, both of you have stepped into these roles, and you're really, really liking it. So I want to encourage everybody who is here tonight to make sure you're getting connected with the TA folks from LinkedIn, because this is an awesome opportunity as far as a career is concerned to explore. So I love that. And so Aaron, I'm going to start with you with this question is, how can sales teams leverage their diversity to convert leads and develop strong customer relationships? Because now as you lead these sales teams and you continue to grow them and you see diversity growing, how are you seeing diversity impact those strong customer relationships?
Yeah, I think the first thing is that the B2B buyer landscape is no longer homogeneous. And I don't know how long it's been since it has been homogeneous. And so the reality is that buyers are diverse. And so they're looking for diverse sellers that can, essentially see the world through their eyes, have compassion for their experience and understand their perspective. So I think just in general, the expectation of buyers has changed. And so that's important to keep in mind. The other thing that I think is really important to think about is that as you add diverse individuals to your sales team, it actually expands your network and your ability within your sales organization. So within sales, and James knows this because we work very closely together, we're always looking for net new opportunities. And so if everyone on your sales team is homogeneous, same network, same relationship, same industry background, your ability to expand out to those growth opportunities really is limited to that small scope. So that's another reason that the diversity of the sales teams is super important.
I like that because at the end of the day, it is about that expanded network and accessing a whole new set of people who actually need what you are selling, right? Because both of you talked about how important it was to be solving problems. And that's really that shift that a lot of people have to have around sales and what they think about from a sales. As far as a career is concerned, it's problem solving. It's helping people. It's not the grimy, greasy things that we used to think about when we thought about like the old used cars salesman from the 1970s. Like this is good stuff, right? So James, I'm going to head to you with this next question. From your experience, how has diversity with your teams helped bolster success?
Yeah, maybe one additional point on that last question. I
Yeah.
think it's also, it's also about results. Oftentimes when we
Mm.
talk about diversity in business or in corporate America, it's the right thing to do, and we're building inclusive teams because of all of the reasons we've heard. But there's been a lot of research done, and recently we commissioned some research that really wanted to get to quantifying whether or not building more diverse sales teams actually drives results. And to your point around, higher conversion rates, better sales, better attainment of quota, and undeniably the answer is yes. We went out and talked to hundreds of sales leaders across the globe with Forrester, and to some surprise, but not to my surprise, leaders at mature companies expect their sales revenue to increase more than leaders at low to mid mature companies as it relates to their diversity practices. And I think a big part of that is also kind of what Erin shared, which is, customers are expecting brands or the partners they work with or the vendors they work with to evolve. And you need to make sure that your team, your B2B sales team really is reflective of that customer base that you wish to serve. So I think this is going to be a really growing trend, and it's only going to become more and more important. And it's really great to see the idea of that proven in the data through some really sound
Yeah.
research.
I absolutely love that. I love knowing that, at the end of the day, there's numbers behind this, and the numbers it's just not anecdotal anymore. You got facts, you got figures, you've got also the expectations of what's going on now. As people, we expect, we it's like see better, do better. Like we want that. So I think
Yeah,
that's awesome. And
yeah,
really, when we're looking at it, going back to the question is, how has it helped within your teams?
yeah,
As far
yeah.
as like bolstering that success team wise.
Yeah, totally. Happy to answer that. I mean, I think one of the challenges that most teams and companies face is that they're trying to retroactively solve the problem of not having enough diversity because they didn't get it right from the get-go. And one of
Mm,
the things that's been really exciting for Erin and I here in LinkedIn Sales Solutions and our global accounts org is that we had an opportunity to really start from scratch. This was kind of a new go-to-market where we we're given the task of going out and building an entirely new team across the globe. And one of the things we've been able to do here in our business is make sure that diversity and belonging and inclusion was really a core value in the foundation, kind of a core principle in the foundation of what it was that we were building. And that was important for a couple of reasons. One, because we need to make sure that this team reflects the rich diversity across our global customers that are everywhere from Singapore to Paris to New York and San Francisco. But also it's about unlocking diversity of ideas and creating an environment where we can all learn together and people can be bring their full self to work. And I think
mm,
if you can do that, you can create an environment where there's psychological safety and you can get
mm,
the best work out of people and really create a high performing team dynamic. And without diversity, without inclusion, it's really, really hard to do that. So, an example of some things that we do, like around my leadership table with Erin and some of our peers, is we've spent time as a leadership team getting to know each other and sharing our life story and experiences that make us who we are today. And you'd be amazed at how much time you spend with people that you work with every day and you really don't know who they
Mm.
really are. So if you can create moments of belonging, create the space to connect where people can bring their full selves and share a little bit about themselves, with their team, the pull through you get from that on, performance and the team dynamic is, I think, a big part of what can drive, really outsized results for sales teams.
And I love that because you think about it being a great place to work. On top of that, because when you're in a great place to work, you absolutely perform better. And so, Aaron, I'll also not let you. I'd love for you to jump in and just add to just as far as what James was saying and that success within the team.
Yeah, I think the other two things to consider, I'm just thinking about as I was hiring the team, there have been many instances where I've hired individuals and they've actually been very excited and refreshed about the fact that they could report to a woman in tech sales,
Mm,
or let alone a Black woman. There are
mm,
many people that will go their entire career and never have that experience. And so to think about yourself as a diverse individual that's interviewing for a job or seeing a posting and you see the hiring manager is me or is James or is Catherine, who's going to be on the panel later, it makes a tremendous difference. And so I would assert that we're able to attract and get talent that maybe some other organizations might have to chase, because people
right.
want to work in an organization where there's diverse leadership. So that's one thing. The other thing I would say is, from an inclusion and belonging, as James alluded to, it's critical that the team creates a space where you don't just bring in diverse talent, but you retain it. And that's in the community that's formed and the way in which people interact, which is only possible when you have diversity of ideas, diversity of perspective, and you don't feel like you need to be the same as everybody that's on the team.
I love that. And then speaking of community, James, you are the founder of the LEAD program, which focuses on Black and Latino talent in tech. What have you learned about the value of diversity from working with the participants in this program?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's kind of funny. I was thinking about the lead program and the origin of it, and essentially, I got a call from a senior executive, one day many years ago at LinkedIn, who said, like, hey, we've closed some of the gaps that we've had with our focus on getting more women in leadership, and we really want to figure out how to solve this problem around our Black and Latino talent, and just
Mhm.
how we can reach our full potential. And do you want to help figure this out? And I had to pause for a minute, and I said, you know what, let me call you back, because I thought about it. I was like, this is complex. This is this gender is complex, but now we're this is race, and it's tech, and it's the valley. And after spending a day or two thinking about it, I realized without a doubt it was something that I knew I needed to try to help figure out, just so I could create a better experience for those that were coming after me. And we had made similar strides at LinkedIn around closing the leadership gap from a gender perspective. And I was able to learn from some of the great things that we did there, and then think about some of the unique complexities around race and what we were doing to attract and retain and develop talent in our community. And a lot of it really started with creating a safe space to have real conversations with senior
Mm.
leadership all the way up to the CEO about the current experience of underrepresented groups at LinkedIn, and creating a safe space to get them in our shoes and listen and learn, and not try to solve anything, but just really understand that there are some different experiences for people. And in parallel, we were able to build some really great programming that focused on community building, for the Black community and Latino community at LinkedIn, and a program that really invested in leadership skills and a support network and sponsors that would really, help provide more visibility and more of a platform for folks to continue to progress in their careers. And I couldn't be more proud of that program. It's still running today. We've had, I think, hundreds of folks go through it. It's a number of years old, and
Mhm.
it's really, really an incredible experience to be part of, the creation of that program.
I love it. And I love just, again, I just want to remind our members that are watching right now, as well later on the replay, that get connected with that talent acquisition folks. As you can see, LinkedIn's just one of those places that is prioritizing diversity and wants to get connected with you. Both of you guys talked about that psychological safety, creating a safe space, being listened to, feeling heard, feeling feeling like you belong. As you know already, March 1st was Black Mental Health Day. So before I let you go, how do each one of you take care of your mental health? Erin, I'll go with you first.
Sure. So I think the first thing that I do is I'm transparent when I need time.
Mm,
So there were a lot of things that were going on in 2020 that were very stressful and weighing on Black people as well as other people in the world. But I would assert that Black people had maybe a disproportionate amount of that stress and that strain. And there were many days where I was like, I just need a day, team. I just need a day. And I took a
mm,
day and it was fine. The world will go on as it relates to work. But holding that space, and if you're a leader of teams, creating the space and it's okay for people to step away from work is really important. The other things I do is really focus on what's top of mind and priorities for me, which is not
mhm.
always work. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's my physical health. And so making sure that I honor those priorities and I don't feel guilty about it. And I'm unapologetic. I share with people, I communicate, and I'm like, this is what I'm doing.
I love that because it's acknowledging where you're at and claiming it as I need this. And I think that is powerful advice. So James, what about you? Give me some more powerful advice. You think you could top that?
Yeah,
No pressure. We're
100%.
talking about mental health
It's hard.
here.
It's hard to top Erin. I mean, I don't know if there's anything that's really groundbreaking for me. The past couple of years, in particular, it's been running, getting out away from the technology. I have some
Mhm,
trails out here by my house in New Jersey. Getting into the woods and just unplugging when I can has been really
mm,
important to me. I have dabbled in meditation a little bit as well. Sometimes that works for some people, others not so much. But just to reiterate, I think what Erin shared about being unapologetic, I think you have to learn how to say no. As I've
mm.
gotten more senior in my career, understanding what's really essential and that not everything is urgent. And if you understand what is most essential and you can say no to things, it doesn't mean you have to be unconstructive in the way that you say no, but being able to say no to the things that are just not essential so you can focus on the few core things that matter most and then make sure you're giving yourself that space to have some downtime with the family or the other things that you need to do where you can replenish energy has definitely been what I've focused on the past few years.
I love it. I love it. Well, James, Aaron, thank you guys so much for joining us. Loving the answers. You gave us a lot of incredible perspective, not only in sales, but just what the environment and the culture is like over at LinkedIn. So, guys, want to remind you all to get connected with the TA folks because there is awesome things happening over at LinkedIn. So, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Awesome. All right, guys. So that was an awesome conversation. And that was one of two because we are moving right along. So I want you to shout them out in the chat, let them know that you learned, also connect with them over on obsidi.com. And it is time now to move over to our leadership panel. So let me introduce you to our moderator tonight, Hugh Lawson. Hugh, welcome.
Good to be here. Great to be here.
Oh, look at
Very
you
excited.
popping style. Got the pocket
Listen,
square and everything. I'm loving it. You are
listen.
representing today.
We're in the virtual kingdom of Wakanda, so I just had to step it up. Like I'm so geeked. So
You
geeked
are
to be
so
here.
ready. I love it. So let
Yes,
me let
ma'am.
everybody know about you. You are the Director
Mm-hmm.
of Business Development for Staples Branded Merchandise Division. You currently
Mm-hmm.
lead strategic teams for global new business prospecting, RFP
Mm-hmm.
processes, proactive proposals, competitive intelligence, future trends identification, and business enhancement initiatives. Basically, everything to do with sales on the technical and
Yes,
really
ma'am.
interesting
Yes,
side.
ma'am.
So, welcome, Hugh. I'll
Thank
let you
you.
take it over from here and I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you. Thank you, Cher. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, James. That was an incredible fireside chat. And so glad to be here. When I got invited to moderate this panel, I got so excited because for those of us that have been in the sales game a long time, there's a saying, you're the first one, you're the only one, and you're everyone at the same time. So I equate being a part of City or BPTN to almost like being in the kingdom of Wakanda, where it's just vibranium flowing through your body and your veins. So it's nice to be in such a safe and brave space. So even at this advanced stage in my life, I am feeling like a 20-year-old. So let's get to it. Just before I introduce the panelists, just want to weigh some narrative into the equation after Aaron and James have so aptly and eloquently stated why diverse sales is important. Everybody knows, every employer knows, every leader knows at this point in time in the Great Reset and the Great Resignation, organizations are in a war for talent, and also in a war to maintain value and relevance with their clients in this fourth industrial revolution, where there's an intense focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Just some interesting stats in terms of the way the world is changing, what makes me so excited and optimistic for our future sales professionals out there. By 2031, 32% of Canada's population will belong to a visible minority group. And this is a stat coming from Stats Canada. And in the States, according to the US Census Bureau, within a matter of 10 years, racial minorities will be the country's main demographic and engine of population change in future years. And from a standpoint, as you sales leaders are looking to transform your sales organizations, at this point in time, according to Gartner, 30% of your supply chain workforce, which are essentially, in my world, that's our first point of contact with our business development team, our supply chain procurement professionals, 30% of them are people of color. So the time is now. As I believe James said, it is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my esteemed panelist. I'm going to call on Sam Terrell first. He's a regional vice president, enterprise sales at Hashi. What's going on, James? What's going on, Sam? You look great. I keep calling you James because you're Titanic like James Earl Jones, but I should just stick to Sam. I'm going to blame it on football concussions.
It's all good, Hugh. I'm doing well, man.
Yes,
good to see you. You're looking sharp as always.
Good to see you. Yeah, fake it till you make it, man. Sam, and I'm gonna shout you out like you're Patrick Swayze in Ghost, like you're not in the room. I'm gonna read your bio. Sam is a regional vice president for the Northeast region at HashiCorp. Sam leads a talented team of enterprise account managers responsible for developing, managing, closing business with HashiCorp's critical strategic enterprise business segment. He's also a founding member and executive chair of HashiCorp's first African American employee resource group, the Blacksmiths, and is actively involved in HashiCorp's efforts to recruit, retain, and mentor engineering and technical sales professionals from underrepresented communities. He received his Bachelor of Arts in Marketing from Michigan State and following his service in the United States Marine Corps. So thank you for your service. I also believe that you're at one point a Grambling Tiger as well, right?
Wow, you went and did some research.
Yeah, I did. I guess where I found it. I found it on LinkedIn.
Wow. Okay, there's no telling what's out there. Yeah, that's. I spent my first year after high school under the leadership of Eddie Robinson. One of the.
Wow, you played for Eddie Robinson?
I did my first year.
That's incredible. That's a legend. You played for a legend. Awesome.
I did.
So, Sam, it's so good to have you here, man. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts and insight and your infinite wisdom.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Next up, we have Plachette Fontenay, who's a regional sales director K-12 West with Lenovo. And Plachette has 23 years in the technology sector. She leads a team in the K-12 space, which ensures children that they have a reliable technology that inspires them to thrive. So she's in a total intersection of profit and purpose. She works with several nonprofits and volunteer opportunities with the Junior League of Portland and participates in board service with Friends of the Children, Friends of the Columbia Gorge, and the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Oregon and Southwest Washington. She's currently a trustee on Legacy's Health's Good Samaritan Foundation board. She's a native Houstonian and moved to Portland in 2015. She loves the Pacific Northwest and endeavors to promote inclusion in outdoor spaces. She enjoys being a fun auntie with 5 nieces and 2 nephews. Plachette, I don't know when you find time to sleep. You got a lot on your plate. That's not even talking about work.
I'm quite the juggler.
It sounds like it. And on top of that, you graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Biological and Physical Sciences from the University of Houston. So you're a Cougar. So Houston Cougar.
Yes.
So I guess we'll have to figure out and ask you how you made that transition from biological and physical sciences to tech sales. So
Well,
I'm gonna put that in the conversation when it's time.
okay, I love it. Yeah, looking forward to
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. So glad to have you. And
Happy
last
to
but
be
not
here.
least,
Thank you.
yeah, I'm so glad to have you. And last but not least, we have Catherine Williams Brinkman, who is the manager, relationship management, global accounts at very own LinkedIn. And she previously was in LinkedIn Talent Solutions, helping customers with their talent acquisition. Catherine has done extensive work through diversity, equity, and inclusion throughout LinkedIn. Prior to that, she spent 7 years at GuideSpark, where she helped build a business and several teams while keeping inclusion top of mind. So welcome, welcome. I have a question for
Thank
you,
you. Thank
Catherine.
you for having me.
Yeah, I have a
Yes.
question. I'm always curious about people who work at LinkedIn. Like, what happens to you if your profile's whack? Like, if your profile is just not up to snuff, do you like get dock pay?
You don't get doc pay, but you get suggestions on how to improve it.
Suggestions? Are they like, I guess, like polite persistence, or is it just like a real, you know, come to the light moment?
I think it's a
Awesome.
polite
So
persistence.
polite. Nice, nice. So I guess we're going to get everybody into this conversation. I was advised by our producers to keep it conversational, and we have a roster of questions that we'd like to discuss to our esteemed leaders on this panel. But I've read these bios. You've probably all went and checked out their profiles, so you're probably holding each of our esteemed panelists in awe. And I guess the thing we want to know is we want to kind of bring them down a notch and humanize them. So we're going to throw a softball question out there for discussion. Just knowing that we've just sort of come off a very busy month, everybody's winding down. Last week we had Black Mental Wellness celebration. Maybe I can ask each of you two questions. What is the one thing that makes you happy and takes care of your mental well-being as well? So who would like to take that question on first?
I can jump in there. Why not?
All right, awesome.
Yeah, no, I think that was a good question, and we weren't prepared for that one. I think the thing that gives me joy is when the family kind of gets together and you have an opportunity to sit around the table and just connect away from the phones, away from all of the stresses of everyday life. So I'm pretty big on the holidays. I
Mm-hmm.
have, a pretty big family, my three boys and stepdaughter, and we just enjoy each other's company. And that's the thing that makes all of the stress that we deal with on an everyday basis totally worth it. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Mm-hmm. You look like a man that could hit the gym from time to time. Is that something else you're doing?
You got
I think
people staked out. You got
game's
people
on point.
you got people staked out outside you. Yeah, I got a nice. I invested in the home gym during COVID,
Yeah.
and I've been building up ever since this thing started. So yeah, I have to get that in. That's a real stress relief for me.
Nice, nice. Hey, Catherine, I'd love to get your thoughts on how are you just ensuring your happiness and taking care of your mental well-being at the same time.
Yes. Thank you for that. So, what makes me happy and joyful are people. So, community and
Nice.
connection. And I will say it's been difficult over the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
continuing to build that. Zoom is not the same as in person,
Mm-hmm.
but really trying to focus on that. So, that's what brings me joy. In terms of my mental well being, during COVID, we purchased a Peloton, and I
Nice.
really, 30 minutes on the Peloton and really creating that time for myself in the morning really frees up my mind and makes it clear, and it's me time because I've got two young kids. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
team that I want to put a lot of energy into, and spending 30 minutes just focused on that and getting through the rides brings me clarity.
No, I agree. I mean, I try to get my workouts in the morning, and it's a really nice purge from a physical and a mental standpoint. It just feels like it's a reboot and a reset, so you can just take on your day and just start fresh. So I totally agree with that. I'm totally in line with that. Well, Plachette, reading into your bio, you seem like an outdoors person. So if I was a betting man, I would probably put in one of your answers, potentially going for walks on trails. Like, how do you remain happy, full, and protecting your well being all at the same time?
Well, thank you. You guessed right. You bet right.
Yeah.
And I get energy from being around people that I love and care about. So connecting
Hmm.
with friends and family is something that really, keeps me grounded and, just drives connections. But living in the Pacific Northwest, I have so much access to a lot of natural wonders. So I mean, I can just drive 45 minutes and be at the prettiest waterfall that you'll ever
Yeah,
see.
beautiful.
So, having access to nature and just going back to a childlike state of just playing outside is something that really
Hmm.
helps me with my mental health and recharge and restores me.
But not rolling in the mud, though.
No, they have something called forest bathing. I haven't gotten into that. No,
No,
I let
no,
the other
no,
people. I let other people do that.
no, thank you. A question
Yeah.
for you. I've been, I've been trying to maintain walks. Up here in Toronto where I live, it's been quite a bitter cold spell with a lot of icy surfaces in the last 2 to 3 weeks. But I found when I was walking before, I really was able to clear my mind and actually come up with some pretty cool ideas while on my walks. Do you find that you experience that as well too?
Absolutely. The great, social worker Brene Brown said, everybody needs to find a way to engage in a state of play. And that's when you're free from feeling self-conscious and then free from, time. So you don't put time
Mm.
restrictions on just being free. And that allows creative things to flow
Yes.
into you. So, I can totally, it's scientifically supported that when you just disconnect, ideas can really come to you. And a lot of times, if I have, like, say, a sales, something I'm dealing with, and I need to, have a strategic play, sometimes when
Hmm.
I'm out for walks, I can think of a strategic, like a clear strategy on how to tackle certain problems that I'm contending with during that time. So, yeah, it's really it gives holistic health overall.
Nice. That's real talk. That's real talk. Thank you. Thank you for articulating and also providing stats to that and quoting Brene Brown. For something in my mind and my instincts, I felt I was onto something with my walks. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So now, all you BPTNers out there, you've seen the human side of these transformational, formidable leaders. We're going to get right into it and extend on the great narrative and discourse that we had with James and Aaron and Cher. So, first question, starting off with a point. We all know, instinctively we've known, but now statistically it's a fact. Diverse sales are more effective because they can connect better with the changing face of our customers. Would love to get our esteemed panelists' thoughts on why diversity leads to more meaningful conversations with customers. Maybe I'm gonna put this one in front of Catherine first. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, just to add on to what we've heard so far in this evening's masterclass.
Yeah, so I thought you'd pick me first. And just to point out, Hugh, my father's name is Hugh, and my son
Yeah,
is named Hugh. So
are they
your
Jamaican
name
too?
is, yes, my father is Jamaican.
What? Are you serious?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm
All right.
serious.
Well,
I'm serious. So
nice.
we're bringing it full circle. To
Wow.
answer your question, to answer your question, customers want to hear and see different perspectives and have different points of
Hmm.
view, right? It's not anymore like, yes, it's the right thing to do. And as James said, and I'm in James and Aaron's organization, the
Hmm.
results the results show that diverse sales teams create uh, better results, and it's what the
Yes.
customers want. The customers want to see, who they are reflected. They want to hear different ideas, and know about different experiences, and to have a team that reflects that brings around higher results.
No doubt, no doubt. The other thing I'm finding as well, like when we get a lot of RFP activity, uh, that is one of the main questions in the questionnaire. They want to know what your strategies on DEI as well as supplier diversity. So in many cases, when you show up with a diverse team, it's a reflection of the culture of your organization. It means you're forward thinking. So in many cases, that's an advantage in itself before you even get to do a transaction. So yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm gonna throw this over to my man Sam. What are your thoughts? I know when we're having the conversations in the prep, you had some contrasting viewpoints that was really nice, which also lends to diversity of thought. So, Sam, would love to hear your thoughts, my man.
Yeah, no, I certainly do. This is one. I mean, I think we're all this particular question. I think we all agree on.
Hmm.
When you're working with, in my case, very large organizations, and you're meeting with the senior executives there, it's no longer an old white gentleman that you're going to see. It may be a woman, it may be an African
Hmm.
American. The CEO of Nasdaq is a woman. The
Hmm.
CEO of American Express for many years was African American. Vista
Yes.
Equity, just led by the wealthiest African American man in the country, right?
Yes.
So our customer has changed, right? And it's often because they value diversity. And so,
Hmm.
by you going in there and having a diverse talent pool, they recognize that they're working with an organization that's in alignment with their values for diversity as well. So
Hmm.
it is important, and for all the other reasons as well. It's not even a debatable point that diverse teams produce better solutions. They drive for sales. They drive greater revenues than non-diverse teams. So we've really kind of moved beyond that. It's unfortunate that that level of diversity and appreciation is not necessarily reflected today, but
Yeah.
that's why we're here, because we're working to make those changes.
Hmm. I think it'd probably be good to issue about a rally cry and a warning shot to all these organizations that are still delaying on this. You got some millennials on this in this master class. You got some Gen Xers in this master class, but you need to get your act in order before the Gen Zs show up, because the Gen Zs don't play, and they're literally years away. My daughter's a Gen Z, and she's about a year away from graduating and going to the work world. So I hope all of you that are trying to learn and grow from our call today realize the air of urgency for you to get your house in order. So, Plachette, I would love to get your thoughts. I mean, you work for Lenovo, a huge global organization. We'd love to hear, just your angle on this.
A lot of times in sales, we talk about having to know your product and finding the appropriate subject matter experts and things of that nature. And when you have a diverse group of people that can relate to others, that is so
Hmm.
important. It's like so it gets down to that core level of people really don't care how much you know; they care how much you care. And when you have people
Hmm.
that are diverse and can really flow and roll with any situation that they're thrown in, creates that agility to just really thrive. And I think
Hmm.
customers can connect with people and those people that can relate to clients. And, then they're able to like really get to the product. Products are secondary, but it's that relation, how you relate to others that can trump, sometimes your knowledge of the product. So just being able to relate from diverse experiences is something that can really give you an edge and help you thrive as a sales professional.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Thank you, Plachette. All right, on to the next question, and I'm gonna flip the script. I think it's pretty much obvious that we've all come to this conclusion with statistical and real life proof that diversity and inclusion is crucial. But I'm gonna turn the question around a little bit. You have an instance where organization has a very specific niche product and market. Say, for example, a black hair care product. I'm going to throw the group here a little curve. Does the sales teams still need to be diverse? Who wants to take that on first? I know, Sam, you had some interesting thoughts. I guess I kind of threw you in first, so love to hear what you have to say about that, my man.
I will yield to Pashek because I saw she stuck her hand up first, but
Okay, push it. Go, push it. She's ready. She's on a roll from her
That's
last answer.
okay.
Go for it.
Well, when we talk about diversity of experiences, you never know the situations in which people grow up, and
Mm,
some people can really out black you in some situations, just given experiences.
yes. Yes.
So when relating to a black hair company, you have diversity of experiences that you can draw on. And, you could
Yes.
have a salesperson that's really lived in the community and can just
Yes.
relate to, the bonnets that we need, or, how well a
Yes.
diffuser should be, when drying your hair in your natural. So, there are
Mhm.
some people that have really become attuned to people around them, and that's the diversity that they bring to the table, is just their experiences. So you can't discount. I mean, I know some people living in the Pacific Northwest, all of our skin folks, not our kin folks.
Yes, I remember
So
that. I know that saying well. Yes. 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 Thank you
so
for teeing it off. Sam, go for it, my man.
I'll add a little bit onto that because I think we touched on this a little bit here in the past, which is I think the common denominator here is the diversity of experience, right?
Hmm.
I think that's really supersedes race in this instance. I mean, I think race is an
Hmm.
easy thing to go to, but I do think that diversity is as important, even when you're dealing with maybe products that only a certain segment or particular demographic might be selling. And the point I like to draw on is, if you think back to where a lot of this all started, IBM hired the first black salesman, right? And if they'd have thought that, hey, it's all about just appealing to the people that we're trying to sell to, none of us would be here, right? Because it
Hmm.
wasn't black folks that was buying mainframe computers back in the 60s. It was white folks, right? But
Hmm.
we brought a diversity of a diverse background and experience and unique perspective, and that's what adds value. So I don't want us to make the same mistakes. Uh, you know,
Yes.
the majority
Yes.
culture has made in making certain assumptions about because we look the same, or this person looks the same as that one, we think the same. We're all black, or may all identify as black or African American, or be from the islands, or other places around the globe. But it is
Hmm.
that experience that is the thing that draws us together, right? Beyond just the racial hues or the colors of our skin. And I just think that's an important thing to remember. I don't think that race is not important, but I don't want us to, make the same, judgments just because someone looks like us, right?
No doubt. No doubt. No, great points. Catherine, you've been off the air for a little bit. Let's get you back in the mix. And hopefully you don't hope you haven't gone cold because you've been waiting for a while.
No, I have not gone cold. I'm always hot.
You always
I
hot
think
and warm.
my
Okay,
my
good,
fellow
good.
I think my fellow panelists have really summed it up. So I'm going to just add to that, and I would say when we think about diversity, I mean, yes, we're talking about race, but also experience as well as age, right? Like we need to encompass a lot of different things. Diversity includes that. I would also say, if, to your example about black hair products,
Hmm.
and someone who doesn't fit that demographic is applying, it's also very interesting. Like, I love to learn about people and what is their interest, right? Like, really learning about them and how their experience and their interest in wanting to sell or be a part of that team could add huge benefit. At LinkedIn, we don't just talk about culture fit, we talk about culture add. What can they add that maybe it's different to the team and bring a
Yes.
different perspective because of their experience?
Wow, that's very powerful. I'm going to make note of that culture add. Um, One thing I wanted to add to the narrative that I think we often take for granted, um, you know, black excellence and black culture, it has cloaked the globe. So, I've had the benefit of traveling to countries like, Mexico, Germany, UK, France, Japan, Italy. And the one common denominator I've found that brought aha moments for me is that our rich culture and our influence on trends has raised generations of children, now adults all over the world. So just as you talk about that value, that culture add, many of them are fairly versed, and they may not have the full, walk in our shoes, but they have the willingness to learn because they see everything we exude as something beautiful. Just like, Sam, I remember like when you watch like a HBCU football game, and you figure that all the players on the team are black, but they're like 4 or 5 white kids, and something drew them to these, storied campuses. Those are potential, salespeople that would sell these kind of niche products, with their heart and soul. So I think we need to remember that we have such an influence over others that would make them more apt to work within, these spaces. So no, thank you so much for everyone for that incredible contribution. Next question, and it's actually somewhat of a segue from the last question, where diversity in teams shouldn't just be about racial background, gender identity, or other demographic characteristics. It can also be experience level and techniques. Would love to get the panel's thoughts about the advantages of having team members with different experience levels and work backgrounds. And I know when we were talking through these questions early in the week, Plachette, you really like this question, so I'm going to let you answer it first.
Thank you very much. I'm a huge proponent of like peer mentoring and,
Hmm.
peers challenging one another to like help raise the standard and that team competition. I feel like having a diverse team with of experienced people can really help kind of raise the stake of everybody else. And just really, iron sharpens iron and everybody can help everybody do better, if you will. So just really
Hmm.
acknowledging and understanding the contributions that each member can bring to the team. I remember Aaron was talking about how James was talking about how they like to in their team meetings have them talk about something and tell a story. One thing I do in my team meetings, I'll do a icebreaker roundtable that really have them think deep and reveal something about themselves so they all can get to know each other, know what their experience has been. And the answers that I get from basic questions like, tell me about a time in your life where it was like life changing and add a photograph in the chat to speak to that life experience
Hmm.
and how it impacted you. I mean, the stories that we got from something like that, we all learned something about each other. And it was just a really good experience to just drive that cohesion on my diverse team because some people were like recent college grads and then some people been in the field for like over 30 years. So it was like
Hmm.
really a good experience that they all can see somebody has something to contribute and add.
Nice, nice. I'm gonna circle it back to Catherine, so you don't get as long of a break. And since you're on a roll, you can way back into the narrative.
Good. Well, thank you.
No
So
problem.
I'm going to use a term that James used around creating psychological safe space, right? And so I feel that on my teams, that's what I'm trying to create. And I want to be my team's advocate. I want to be a coach and many other things. But I also want them to learn from each other, right? Like,
Hmm.
I don't have all the answers. And if they think I
Yes.
do, they're mistaken. And I tell them that from the get go. So I, we can learn from each other. And that is the richness of diversity, whether it's age, whether it's experience, whether it's where you grew up, whether it's your racial background, whatever it is. But we can bring that. And so on my current team, I've got someone who's like a renewal queen, and I've got someone who really likes training and development, and someone who's newer to LinkedIn and brings his experience from the outside. they can all learn from each other. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
richness of our different experiences that we can bring to the table. And we can all be lifted by our team and the diversity that we bring.
Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. My man Sam. Well, I know you lead. You lead sizable teams with your organization. Love to hear your thoughts.
Sure. There are a couple of things that I think are really interesting about this topic of diversity because everybody kind of has this idea of what it means. Some people may think about it in a positive light, and other people may think negatively about it. In more progressive organizations, we kind of talk the talk. But my observation is that, when, we talk about diversity, but we want everybody at the table to agree with us in the same breath, right? The person that has a different perspective has a very challenging time, right? The other area of diversity where you see that it's kind of counter to the values is, one of the things we do as an ERG is we're working with our people team to recruit people from, non-traditional backgrounds. So one of the sales development reps that supports our team was a plumber before he got into
Wow.
tech, right? Diversity means a lot of things, right? I invited all the sales leaders from my company to join this session with us here tonight. Not sure if they're out there, but it's just it's such a broad topic, but it's all good
Yes.
things because it just brings a uniqueness to the problem solving exercise. And in tech, you live and die by your ability to solve tough problems. You live and die by the innovation that you're bringing to the market, right? And ultimately the solution that you're providing, right? I love this topic, and I'm hopeful that everybody's thought process around what diversity and inclusion actually means is enriched from it. Those are just a couple of my observations about the topic and some of the ways that we should be thinking about it.
I love your points about part of the richness of diversity is members of your teams not automatically agreeing with each other. And it's interesting you say that because I was on a panel chat with a gentleman who was a behavioral economist consultant, and he talked about his taking his consultancy to participate in this Harvard Business School, I guess, offsite where groups would get together in teams and they do this mock trial to reach the summit of Mount Everest. And then I guess the group work and breakout groups would determine if they were successful, and I guess would be modeled into some sort of technology. And his group got along famously, and they all pretty much finished each other's sentences. But there was a rival group that were just fighting like cats and dogs all the time. And immediately he looked at that group and said, "Well, they don't stand a chance against us." But in the results of the mock competition, his group died halfway up to the summit, and the group that argued like cats and dogs, they won because in many cases they're challenging each other, and as a result, they had to think things through, and you really had to build a case to build consensus. And as a result of that battle test, that stress test of the disagreements and on contrasting viewpoints, they actually had a refined approach and strategy that allowed them to reach the summit. So yeah, Sam, you're bang on. You're bang on with that. It looks like we're getting close to our time, and we wanted to be able to have some opportunity for our audience to put in some questions. So I'm going to throw a couple more questions at the group, and I guess my next question to the group, as we come to a close, is what can sales leaders do to foster teamwork and success for diverse sales teams? And how can sales leaders encourage other team members to embrace diversity? And I think, Sam, you already set the tone by inviting your colleagues in. So I'd like to bring you back into this conversation.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the opportunity. I think we have to, diversity is not easy, right? It's not easy to be a leader and to be challenged, right? Quite frankly,
Yes.
right? And it is a skill set that you have to acquire, right? But we have to walk the walk, right? We can't say, I believe in diversity, but then I look at my team and my team look as homogeneous as as 50 years ago, right? Like you just
Hmm.
can't, right? And so I think it starts with us, right? We got to walk the walk. We have to be educated ourselves, and then we have to work to
Hmm.
educate the people that work for us. Because there's a lot. Everybody has an opinion about D&I or just the word diversity. I guarantee you that, right? And what they think is associated with it. But we have to be real leaders. We have to,
Yeah.
go out into the communities, participate in things like this, continue to broaden the way that we think about these topics and learn. And then we have to bring those things home, and then we have to demonstrate that on a daily basis, right? We
Hmm.
have to, when we, the interesting thing was like, when we recruited that SDR and we were introducing him to the team and his background, and his manager says, yeah, he was a plumber before he did this. I was, what? Like, what are you talking? What do you mean a plumber before he came here? Right? Because I'm used to people following a certain pattern, right? Now,
Yes.
guess what? His performance leads all of the other SDRs with years of more experience than him, right? Which is a very interesting. So that's a learning moment for me. But, I have to constantly challenge myself because I'm out on the forefront, but that doesn't mean I know everything. So I think that how do we
Hmm.
do that? How do I bring that into? I have to bring that attitude into my work, and then I have to work to, as I do in other leadership capacities, work to educate my team on what that really means.
Nice, nice. But make sure you pace yourself because you can get tired pretty fast. It's definitely not easy, right?
It's definitely look. This is. I think all of us are here. It's almost
Yes.
8 o'clock at night on my time, right? This is a passion at this stage of my
Yes,
career.
agreed.
This is a part of what I think my legacy is to pass on to my son
Yes,
who's just
building a
starting
legacy.
out in
Yes.
tech, right? So, and my mother who's out here listening, she started as a diversity trainer, 25 years in corporate America in an all white
Wow.
Wow.
company, and you know,
Wow.
we would sit at the tables and she would talk about some of the same things that we're
Yeah.
talking about here today, which is a little unfortunate, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's a I guess I'll end the say it's a passion. Yes, it's important to HashiCorp, but it's more than about HashiCorp. It's about me trying to do what I can to be a part of the world that I want to see and for the world that I want my boys to live in and my
No
daughter.
doubt. No doubt. I agree. I mean, at this stage of my life, it's all about building a legacy. Um, Plachette, we haven't heard from you in a while. Would love to get your thoughts on, just what you're doing as a leader to foster teamwork and success for your sales teams.
Well, like I mentioned, I'm a huge proponent of peer mentoring, but I always talk from a diversity perspective. Talk
Hmm.
about equality, inclusion. Those are like words that are just part of my daily vernacular, actually. And I remember when I was interviewing with Lenovo over 2 years ago, I asked who's my leader now. I asked him why he's proud to have a badge, and he spoke to the diversity on the board of directors, how we represent so many different countries. And then when I went to my new hire training, they said how, oh, we have this many women in leadership. We have this many. They went down the list of diversity check marks and what some of the metrics and goals were. And that was something that made me feel really comfortable about being in that environment. So it's like diversity is in the DNA of my organization. And then, this
Hmm.
is something that we can continue to promote amongst our teams. One thing I share with my peers and leadership team is, diversity of talent. Everybody should be involved in that. As our sellers are out in the field, if they meet a talented person, a diverse candidate, put them in the pipeline, add them to the talent
Hmm.
pipeline. I remember the CEO of Wells Fargo said it's hard to find black talent, and everybody on
Yeah,
LinkedIn was like,
yeah,
I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
yeah.
We're
Hey,
not hard to find, come to where we
hello.
are.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's a put it into practice and go out and get that, find that diverse talent and attract it to your organization. Just make it part of the culture.
Awesome. Awesome. So well said. All right. Last question. And I'm going to start it off with Catherine. She's been waiting patiently. And I'm going to ask you to answer this question in 5 words or less. Before we close, Catherine, maybe you could give the audience one last gem that they can take away in 5 words or less.
Know your why.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to give Plachette a break. Sam, what's the one gem our audience can take away in 5 words or less?
Always be closing.
Sweet. ABC.
Always ask for the deal. Always ask for what you want.
You tell them. You tell them, Sam.
Rule number
Last
one.
but
You're
not
not going to
least.
get there if you don't ask for it. Don't wait for them to ask you to interview for the role. Say, I want that role. What do I need to do to get in it?
Go get it. Just go get it. Just
Go
go
get
get it. Thank you. Go get it. And Plachette, you take us home.
Bloom where you're planted.
Woo! You have a mic that you can drop right now? Awesome. Bloom where you're planted. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Well, hey, listen. We have some time to field some questions. Let's see if there's anything in the chat for us. Maybe we can take a couple and I can throw them by the esteemed panelists. Let's take a look, see what we got here. I see that there's a mic drop. Is there anybody who'd like to ask something to the esteemed panelists before we close up for the night? We got a shy group. Wow, a shy group that aspires to sales. I'm going to count down from 5. Okay. Our BPTN chat stewards are asking, check the question tab. All right. Here we go. Let's take a look in the question tab here. All right. I am a second-year accounting student in university. I haven't really been able to find a productive connection since my school's been online, and I don't know much to share. A similar way was me. I guess this person wants to get advice on varieties of ways in which they can make connections. Who would like to answer that question? In terms
I'll
of
take
connecting with
that.
other potential contact students. All right, go for it.
I would like to encourage you to look for virtual connections. So during this time of COVID, I mean, you can go to, LinkedIn, Masterclasses, see what's out there. You can go to maybe any accountant organizations that you're in. Think about where you want to take your career. You said accounting. So, they have National Association of Black Accountants. You can, look to see what they have available. So there are resources out there where you can connect to virtually. And when we're on it's almost opening up again, and maybe you can find something in your local area to connect to. But network, network, network.
No, thank you, Plachette. Any of our esteemed panelists have some more wisdoms and gems and jewels to drop with regards to this question?
I'll make a plug for network on LinkedIn and reach out to people. I will say that in general, people want to help others, right? I'm not saying everyone does, but in general, people want to help others. So make connections. Feel free to reach out to me specifically, and use LinkedIn and other platforms.
No doubt. Thank you. Thank you. Jake, Sam, you want to weigh in on this question?
No, I think I don't work for LinkedIn, but I think a big difference that an advantage that folks coming out into the world now is LinkedIn as a platform. I do think it's just an amazing way to connect with people directly, connect with potential hiring managers. I have people that reach out to me all the time. Not as much as you would think, but the people that do, especially the younger students that do, get my attention, because that's actually what it takes. Any of these social media platforms that are more affinity group related or business related, I think are extremely effective to developing your network and growing your network.
Okay, thank you. I just saw an interesting question in the chat, and it was actually directed to Aaron, but I think it's pretty universal, and it's been a reoccurring topic in the news and in media. And this person had asked, "I love your hair, Aaron, and I see it's natural. A lot of Black women have natural hair, and sometimes in the Western society, we get negative comments on it. I would like to ask her or ask our esteemed panelists, as a sales professional in and outside tech, have you had your appearance, like your hair, affect your sales? Well, I guess, Sam, you and I can't answer that question. So I would love to, Catherine and Plachette, you want to take this one on?
I can. My hair is straight today, but I entered the field sales world as a natural, and I would wear a teeny weeny afro and go visit clients. I represented a really strong brand. I came knowing my stuff, and they wanted to meet with me. Living in Oregon, however, I did put my picture on my e-signature so they won't be shocked when I walked in the door. So
Mhm.
I wanted to alleviate initial awkwardness of the introduction from my name. They wouldn't guess what I look like. So I wanted to show them what I look like before I had my meetings. And I would
Mhm.
walk in with my natural curls, and there was never a problem. So,
Beautiful.
one thing, grooming is important, but how you present and how you wear it is everything. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm.
Catherine, you have any, you wanted to weigh in on this
I think that
question?
I think that that closed it out pretty well.
Perfect.
I mean, that is a mic drop there. I will say
Yes.
that I wore my hair straight until the pandemic, and then I cut most of it off and decided to go natural. And yeah, I agree with the comments that the person made, and I think it's also people need to get with the program,
Hmm.
and I do believe that if you bring it in your knowledge that can, I'm not going to say it goes away, but you can own the room and your seat at the table.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Oh, one last question, and actually, Plachette, with all these mic drops, you have your somewhat of a fan club in the chat,
Okay.
and Eric has a question for you. You mentioned your company's DNA, which is great. Um, how would you recommend identifying companies with this type of DNA when our cohorts look for career opportunities?
You can go look at their board of directors. You can
Yes. Boom.
I'm gonna give LinkedIn another plug.
Boom.
Type in that company
Mhm.
and go to LinkedIn. Look to see who in leadership is on LinkedIn that's representing that organization. That's how you can tell. We've all been in rooms where you see clones of the sales manager, and those
Mhm.
days are like going away. But go to LinkedIn and type in that company name, see who's in leadership there, and that would really answer that question. Some people like to do performative activism and talk about it,
Yes.
but who's being about it? You can see pictures on
Hmm.
LinkedIn nowadays, so you can see who's being about it.
So, Shed, I think I'm gonna bring you on as a ghostwriter for like my future presentations and euphemisms because you're dropping mics. Don't talk about it, be about it. All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna close off on that note to allow some time for people to kind of network within the chat before we sign off for the night. But I just want to leave you with this thought. It's with regards to the title of our time together. You belong in sales. For all of you, think about this. If you are of African origin, or actually you're brown, you're South Asian, you come from parts of the world where, due to your strong repository of oral storytelling traditions, you are made for sales. And that's the thing that really perplexed me over the years, is not seeing a whole bunch of people that look like me in sales. But when I'm at a cookout, when I'm at a family gathering, your uncle would wordsmith and tell stories like you wouldn't believe. Great sales leaders and great sales professionals are great communicators and great storytellers. And in order for you to be a great storyteller, you have to be studious. You have to understand what it is you're talking about, and you have to work at your craft. So don't let anybody at any point in time lead you to believe that you do not belong in sales. We are natural and we are innate for sales. We are griots. Griots are West African historians, storytellers, praise poets. And when they said when a griot died in a village, it was equivalent of a library burning down. So be a griot and remember that you belong in this incredible way of earning a living and tradition and craft and profession. So with that, we're going to wrap up. Want to thank our esteemed panelists. BPTN, Obsidi, thank you so much. What an incredible experience. Just so grateful to be a part of this. I'm going to do the Wakanda Forever sign and sign off, and
Yeah.
we'll get at it. Thank you, everybody. What an incredible time.
All right.
Wakanda forever. James, you rocked it. Did I just say James? I apologize. Oh my goodness. Hugh. See, this is what you did. You started this, Hugh. You started calling everybody James, and now I got into it too. But Hugh, you rocked it. Wakanda forever. You talk about the skills that you've been developing, and you can see your sales skills come off as you in that moderator seat. You did a fantastic job. You have the people skills. You brought the conversation along. Pure mic drops everywhere I looked, and you even influenced me enough to call you James. I'm just saying, you have influence, my friend. So thank you so much for moderating that awesome panel. I mean, we really, truly did get a deeper understanding and appreciation for the importance of diversity and within our sales teams. And it was exciting to just see how we know that diversity is going to shake up the future of sales, and our amazing speakers just came with the knowledge tonight. So thank you guys. Don't forget, there's so much drop tonight that we can't leave it on the internet. We can't leave it right here. You got to bring it over to another part of the internet called obsidi.com and make sure you share what you learned. And that's a great way to connect with people. Sharing, because sharing is caring. And in fact, Hugh talked about that knowledge transfer. So transfer that knowledge over to obsidi.com. Thank you as well to our panel, Catherine, Plachette, and Sam. You guys just came gem after gem, drop after drop. Loved it. In fact, know your why. Always be closing. Bloom where you are planted and ask for what you want. That alone, you can walk away with a whole post. So thank you guys. Thank you, audience. Thank you, everybody, for who's just chiming in the chat. And of course, LinkedIn. We appreciate you. Thank you for bringing this awesome conversation to us tonight. And again, bring it over to obsidi.com, and we're going to be sending you out a survey. So make sure you fill it out. So thank you so much for your time. And as well, we want to know your feedback. So let us know. And I'm going to say this like a million times because it's worth repeating. Don't forget to sign up at obsidi.com if you haven't already. And we will see you on the next masterclass. See you next week.